Hello and welcome to episode 16 of TBT Unfiltered. If you are watching this on YouTube, you might notice me and Tom are in some slightly different locations today, but the podcast still goes down nonetheless. And we're going to start off the same as every other week with the most important question. Tom, how are we?
Mate, I'm having one of those days. I think everyone's having the same, similar week. I'm smoked, mate. I can't lie. I'm absolutely smoked. And one thing that I've not done previously, or the mistake that I've made, is tried to justify, oh no, I'm all right. I'm all right. But in actual fact, I've not just put it under the rug, mate. I'm pretty smoked this week. I think all of the show days have sort of caught up, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have today as a nice sort of chill day. Got all my work done, took my nan out for a nice coffee, made that a nice little ritual again. If anyone doesn't know, every Thursday I took my nan out in prep, carried on going. I've not done it for the past couple of months. She's let me go for badminton, but badminton stopped now because Margaret's away apparently. So I've been made her, she's like, oh, do you want to go for a coffee? I'm there like, oh, are we allowed now? She goes, oh yeah. I thought, oh, so here we go. She's come to the dregs of what I am, basically. But yeah, man, we're really good. Really, really good. It's been a really productive. It's been a really quick week. Like this weekend was UK the FBA, and I'm thinking it's Thursday already. But how are you, brother?
I am good. I have just got back from leg day because we're recording this on Thursday, the 4th of June. It'll be live tomorrow. Well, when you listen to this, it'll be the 5th of June, Friday. Just had a leg session coming off the back of supposedly a deload over the weekend, but I don't.
I was going to say, don't call it a deload. Just stay some time away.
Yeah, I basically went on holiday, a little mini getaway with my family on last Friday to the Lake District till Monday, which was very nice. I didn't train for the 4 days whilst I was there, thinking, oh, you know what, it'll be a bit of a deload. And as me and Tom were just discussing prior to pressing record on the podcast, I still feel battered. I don't feel like I've had a deload. I've essentially just had 4 days off 4 days off training, had a holiday, and then I've come back and I still don't feel too fresh. So yeah, it's one of those days. The session was good. First half progressed well. Actually connected really well on my movements. Like my quads, my hamstrings felt like they were absolutely on fire, full of blood, felt like they were going to burst my quads after my pendulum squat and my hip press. But there was just no power there, no strength there. A couple reps down on a few things, but it is what it is. I've had a few days off, obviously not back into the swing of things from a training standpoint, but we'll get there over the next week. We'll be all good. Nothing to stress about because the session still felt very good, felt productive. So we ignore the logbook on today's occasion and keep it moving into next week.
I think that's a good point to make, though. I think people correlate a positive session just by the logbook, when if you think about it objectively, things felt good. But me and Jake were speaking there, it's called like a super compensation effect where your central nervous system isn't going to be fired from spending time away. Jake didn't actually have rest. He wasn't in his usual routine. Meals weren't the same. He was away. Different setting, all those different things which make a difference, especially when you have a bodybuilder who has the same routine every day. Subconsciously, eating the same meals at the same time, doing things at the same time, all these things at the same time, day to day, month after month, and you go away for a weekend, 3-4 days, this offsets that a little bit, and then you try and go back and match what you did previously. Don't ever try and match what you did before having a deload, because neurologically you're not going to forget how to do a bicep curl, but things are going to feel a little bit off. But from a central nervous system perspective, things aren't going to be firing as much. So try and think, what am I trying to get out of the session? Set foundations for the new training block. Jake's just done that, and that's where it's like, you know what, it's not really a bad session with how I felt, even though on the logbook you were down a few reps here and there. But
yeah, it was one of them. Like we obviously discussed last week, I was feeling a bit smoked. I was like, oh, this will be a good opportunity to take some time away from training. Hopefully, get a bit of a rest in the tank, because it wasn't like a activity weekend away. It was just a weekend away in a log cabin up in the lakes on Lake Windermere. So it's like a really nice setting. We didn't do anything strenuous, didn't go hiking or anything like that, but I was before I went away, I was like struggling to wake up in the morning. Like in terms like when my alarm was going off, it was like I couldn't get out of bed. And then I've come back this week, and like the first 2 mornings back in my own bed, same thing. Like I just alarm goes off, and my body's just like not ready to get up. It's like fatigued. It feels like I've not slept well, even though I've been in bed for like 8 hours. Probably got like 7.5, 7 hours like of actual sleep. But then when I think about it, the scenario that I was in over the weekend, I was in a log cabin. I was in a single bed, which is obviously not the best circumstances for someone who's trying to get a good night's sleep when you're like wider than the actual bed itself, having to sleep on your side really uncomfortably. It was obviously like roasting, like 30 plus degrees. So I was like, had this like fan on me, trying to like keep myself cold, trying to get good sleep. Wasn't great. So yeah, probably not the best circumstances, as Tom said there. I probably had we had a kitchen facility, so I probably had like 4 of my normal meals a day, 4 of my normal 6, and then had like a family meal, like when we went out for dinner and stuff like that. So it's like out of routine. My appetite, I've noticed, has taken a little bit of a hit coming back from being out of routine. Obviously, the heat as well. So it's one of them where we just keep it moving, not really
The
complain.
heat as well.
Yeah.
Oh my lord! Like I never complain about the heat because I'm just like, it is what it is. But honestly, mate, I was there like, can it just go away now? On the weekend, I was like, oh yeah, a little bit of rain. Woke up on the Saturday and Sunday, roasting hot, muggy. Someone said dewy, and I went, you know what, mate, that sort of describes it pretty well, dewy. And I was like, yeah, man, it is pretty dewy, bro. I don't even know what that means, but yeah, hated it towards the end. It's just a different sort of heat in the UK, mate. It's like you walk outside, 1 minute it's raining. I went for a walk yesterday, it was chucking it down. Next thing you know, it's literally burning through the heat. Next thing you know, it was raining again. I went into the gym to get some steps in. 2 minutes later, the sun's bursting through. I'm thinking, what is going on? But yeah, when I need a deload personally, I couldn't think of anything like worse than going to the gym. I don't want to be in the gym, and my appetite goes a little bit, and that's when I know, because I can eat quite well. When my appetite goes and I don't want to be in the gym, that's when I know that I'm pretty overreached. I'm pretty frazzled. But that's when I just literally take at least 3, 4, 5 days off the gym and do what's needed. I think it's so people overlook. Jake could have easily looked into it too much and gone, I've taken 3 days off, 4 days off, and I've come back and everything was perfect since I've had the perfect sleep in my own room. And I'm like, nah, man, body just needs to, you're in a surplus, you're recovering well, you're back into your normal routine, you're sleeping well, training objectively is feeling good. It's going to move forward in the right direction. But there are so many people who would look into that and go, what am I doing wrong? And then by stressing about it, they'll make it even worse. So that's bodybuilding for you. We stress about things that we don't need to usually.
Overthinking is a big killer of enjoyment and long-term progressions. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm. Just break things down very simply. That's all I got to do.
What's the phrase? Paralysis by overanalysis.
Yeah, paralysis by analysis. So you're just paralyzing yourself by thinking over analyzing things. And I'm thinking, yeah, it explains it pretty well.
One of the best ones I've ever seen was I saw someone post about cinnamon post-workout because of its anti-inflammatory effects, and I was just thinking, bro, if you want some cinnamon in your cream of rice post-workout, just have it. It's not gonna do much.
It was the oh mate, I'm struggling to sleep, and someone was like, bro, it's that dark chocolate. It's the 3 grams.
Yeah.
It's the 3 milligrams of dark chocolate, the caffeine in the dark chocolate. Switch to almond butter.
Yeah.
Switch.
I know exactly who it was that said that.
I was like, mate, what? But yeah, don't worry, guys. If you're having dark chocolate in your last meal and it has caffeine in it, don't worry. That's not the reason why you're not sleeping. It's all good.
But it is. But what else have we got planned coming up? Obviously, we've got
WMBF.
Mm-hmm.
We just had UK FBA go as well, where Harley won her class in toned figure, which was good.
Should have won the
overall. Yeah, we'll go into that. I don't mind talking about that actually. I think the show, it was a really good show. The fact that it had a nice facelift with Christian being the face of UK FBA now, fantastic. The way it was run in terms of Like the morning, I do believe that 170 athletes queuing at the start when you're supposed to have an athletes meeting at about 9:15. It didn't end up being until like 10:15, and the athletes meeting was, okay, guys, we're pretty behind. Hope everyone's all good. Let's go. Show starts in 45 minutes. Like I've been there since 9:15 to make sure Harley was there early, right? I'm waiting there till 10:30, and she's like, "Oh, that's it. Let's just wait for." And she can go on stage till 6 o'clock. The first class of 15 people in novice was an hour, so that's the first class. It took 4.5 hours to do 9 classes till classic was over. So 3:30, and the first section wasn't even done. So even though the stage time was excellent for the athletes, it's not like PCA where they go through one round of quarter turns and that's it. It was very good. They take into consideration like pose and fitness. They look at everything there. Like some people were actually in the middle of the call outs. They faded towards the end, ended up being third. I love that. Absolutely love that. It's just I feel as though if you want to do that, spread it over 2 days. Have the figure and bodybuilding on one day, have men's physique and bikini on the other day. Personally, especially with figure finishing at 6 o'clock, and then you got to think of all the bikini athletes, all the men's physique athletes. And if I was the owner of a federation, I'd want all of the athletes to look the best they possibly could do because they're representing my federation. And if I've got my men's physique guys, which by the way they looked incredible, if I've got my men's physique guys on stage at 9 o'clock, they're not going to look their best. They're probably in bed by that time. And trying to hold that look is so hard. I thought Harley was more than likely going to be on around 3, didn't end up being on stage till 6, right? So it's one of those, but it was a really good show. The standard was great. Was it the best standard of UKDFB that I've seen? No, but then again, the standard was fantastic. Harley looked phenomenal. Really happy with the look that we brought for her. Yeah, her feedback was she was spot on. The head judge, Christian, had her winning in the overall. Personally, I had her winning the overall. I think she suited toned figure more than what the other female did in terms of trained figure. Does that take away from her? No, she's incredible. Loads amount of muscle, in condition. She's been doing it for ages. Fantastic. And to be fair to her, she was an absolute blessing of a human being, mate. Like genuinely, she was coming up to Harley saying, "Well done, you're fantastic." And it was really tight, mate. I think it was 3-2 on the scorecards. So just goes
Well,
to show.
when you sent me that yesterday, obviously we already talked about the head judge saying he had a winning. You would think that the head judge, if it was that close, would get a final say. It's very odd to hear a head judge saying, I had someone winning the overall, but then the decision doesn't go the way of the head judge. Because if you look at like IFBB Federation, like Pro League and stuff like that, essentially whatever the head judge thinks, that's the decision.
Yeah, it is. It is. If
It's
you
odd to hear.
and that's so I actually reached out to Christian and I said, Harley, I'd love some feedback over Harley. She's doing a couple more shows, or show, I should say, with WMBF. And I'd love some feedback. And he said that she's literally spot on. Nothing you can do. Had her winning. So I believe, obviously, the other judges would have obviously favoured. I believe her name's Ali. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. In the overall, but I found it weird how she got moved straight to the middle. Like they didn't even do a pose. Just walked out, hit their mandatory pose. 105 Harley came straight to the middle. And then she stayed there for the entire round. Side chest, side try, front double, back double, then the whole thing again. So 2 rounds, she was in the middle the entire time. And I'm thinking, oh, like, don't get me wrong, you should never think that anyway, because I've had it before with Harley in the overall. Everyone's like, oh, well done, you won the overall. End up not winning the overall. And it happened again this time round where everyone was coming up to me, oh, she's won the overall. Next thing you know, 106. I'm like, no, didn't win the overall. So you can't, even though she finished smack bang in the middle of 5, she had 2 beside of her, she still didn't win. But objectively, the look, honestly, mate, it was probably one of the most proud, up there with like Granite with you. Like honestly, when you just nail it and you're there, like you legit can't look any better than that. It was.
You don't have to say that just because I'm here, by the way. You can say her peak was better than
nah, man. Like there are some looks, mate, where you look back and you're thinking you just can't you can't make someone better than that. You can't. And with that look there, like, but it's little things like the tan was perfect, the glaze was perfect, her bikini, how it suited, like her hair was brilliant. Charles does Harley's tan, Harley's hair. I glaze her backstage. And also, we'll go on to that in a second, by the way. The glazing at the show, they glazed them like 15 minutes earlier before going on. So everyone's like, they actually glazed. But then you had
So,
some
so
people,
you know Ash, who I've got a consult call with him next Tuesday. The lad that asks us a lot of questions on the podcast.
we'll
He
talk about
won,
him
obviously.
as well. Hmm.
He won classic bodybuilding juniors, I think it was.
Junior Classic, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, you FaceTimed me to watch that. So, whilst I was away. And then obviously, we discussed a few things that he could obviously improve on going into the overall. So, I phoned him after he came off stage and spoke to him through obviously like what we'd said. And one of them was the glazing. And he went, yeah, that was just really unfortunate, out of my control. They glazed us as we were pumping up, and then right as they finished glazing them, apparently they called a 30-minute break.
Yeah, that's what happened with,
So
with
that's why
Classic
he
Junior.
wasn't. That's why
Yeah.
he had no glaze going onto stage, because they called a 30-minute break right as they glazed them, and then didn't re-glaze them going on stage. So the only person on that stage that had a glaze on was Finley Thornton,
Who
who's
was
obviously
coached
coached
by.
by Vin Kelly,
Hmm.
who I can only assume re-glazed him himself backstage.
Yeah, that's what happened. Like, but
Yeah.
I went backstage with Harley, and she was like, "Oh, novice are on now." And novice there was about 6 people on, and the lady who was, I forgot her name as well, but she, to be fair, she was really good. She glazed him like
Is
20
it Nick?
minutes earlier. Yeah, I believe it was. And she came over to
A1.
A1 tanning. And by the way, everyone's tan looked mega. Um, Went over. She was like, "Oh, toned figure athletes, can you go and start glazing?" I went, "Mate, when are they on?" They go, "Oh, we got novice, and then you've got over 40s, and then you've got toned." I'm thinking, why are they glazing now? Next thing you know, she starts glazing the 2 other toned figure athletes, and Harley was like, "I was like, no, Harley, you're not getting glazed yet. No, we'll just keep posing and keep doing our rounds." Next thing you know,
Yeah.
we start glazing about 2 minutes on stage, and then another coach of the other one of the other tone figure athletes was like, "Oh, Tom's glazing Harley. Well, I must probably glaze my athlete because it's been like 20 minutes." And I was just thinking, like, it's don't get me wrong, like you can't really do much unless you've not got your own tan or sorry your own glaze. But I was thinking, like, that makes a massive difference. Genuinely, like, the guy got one of the glazes and he just went over really quickly. Yeah, I'm there, like, thoroughly glazing Harley. And again, we'll go on to this in a second. I put a post up about this. If anyone wants to see it, it's a picture of me literally glazing Jake outside of PCA Glasgow, PCA Scotland. But if you don't get the details right in terms of the lighting, for example, with PCA Naturals at Birmingham Town Hall, white room, lights are really far up. You don't need that much glaze, right? Because it's a white room. You don't want to get washed out by the white in the background. If you put too much glaze on, it'll wash you out. Next thing you know, for example, great example is Finn Kelly came in too dark, loads of glaze, couldn't see any detail. Had to have a shower, glaze, looked mega. With UK FBA, it's a small hall. It's blacked out. The lights are literally touching your head. Literally beaming bright lights. The more glaze you have, the better you're going to look. But it's a fine line. So what I'm doing is I'm glazing Harley, looking at her. Okay, we need a little bit more glaze here. Comes out perfectly glazed, and people are probably looking at me saying, "Oh, it's got way too much glaze on." I probably should have put more glaze on her. And she was walking out there, and she was like glistening, mate. Right, but it all depends on the lighting at the stage. Black room, low lights, more glaze. White room, Birmingham Town Hall. Next thing you know, lights are really far away. You don't need that much glaze. So again, as a coach and as an athlete, make sure that you know exactly what the venue is. For example, with Grove Hall at WMBF next weekend, blacked out room, lights really far away. So it's like we don't need that much. But then again, like a last second spray is going to help massively to make sure she goes on their glaze, but not too much.
I think what you said there about getting the details right, obviously with the post that you put up, it's like you've already mentioned just before, Harley's tan, Charles does it.
Mm-hmm.
Harley's hair, Charles does it. You
Mm-hmm.
backstage, glazing Harley, make sure the tan's right, make sure the bikini sits right. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, there's so much that you do not get from the federation if you just go and get their tan. Yes, it's probably easier. Yes, it saves you a bit of hassle because, you know, you've got a glaze guaranteed, you've got a tan guaranteed, but like there is no better way to manage your staged look than to do everything yourself with your coach,
Mate,
if that is a possibility.
bang on. And me telling Jake to do, I did Jake's tan, except from Granite, who, Granite, Steph, the absolute goat. Genuinely, she is so,
Big up, Steph.
I call it like, she won't mind me saying this, more like autistic the way she does it. She does not miss a single detail when it comes down to like tanning. She'll like bring you out, she'll bring you out of the tanning booth and go, turn around, walk away. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
back in. Mate, she's so anal with everything, but that's what you want. But it
That
just
was
makes a
like
difference.
darkest tan in the world as well, because she uses liquid sun rays instead of pro tan. So obviously liquid sun rays is US brand that they use over in the US at all their shows, all the IFBB pro shows over there. And honestly, by the time I had my base coat done, I literally looked like I had my top coat on. And I went back the next morning and I was like, Steph, I can't have you tan me again.
Yeah,
I've got too much tan on. I'm too dark. And she was like, that's fine. I'll just touch you up and I'll just see if there's any areas that I've sort of rubbed off. And it's like, that's like how meticulous she was on a base coat that it looked like I had a top coat on.
yeah, mate. It's ridiculous. And then when it comes down to Jake, we made sure the tan was again better and better and better each time. But again, Harley, when we did her base coat the night before, Charlotte did her base coat the night before. We looked at her pose at like 4 o'clock, and everything just sunk in. She looked like really pale for a second. Next thing you know, Charlotte went into the toilets, put about four top coats on her, came out perfect. I glazed her, but then again, it comes down to the coach wanting to do that. I pay for a backstage pass, make sure that I can go backstage with Harley and make sure I glaze her. I make sure that she gets the right tan and stuff so she knows what she's doing. Charles does her tan the night before. So again, we're paying for accommodation each time. For example, this weekend, we're paying for accommodation all together to make sure her tan's perfect. Well, next thing you know, we're making sure. But in actual fact, I know you say the tanning's easier, which on paper it is at the Federation, but I can say to Harley, have meal 4, then do you then literally what we did with you. Have meal 4. We've got a nice 2 hour break now to your last meal. We can now go and tan. But for example, 170 athletes at UK FBA, do you think they're not going to run half an hour behind? Have you taken your meal? Are you on your feet for ages? Like, are your legs getting washed out? Like, do you know what I mean? Are your legs fading from standing around from hours on end? It takes less the amount of time. Plus, you have so many variables in place. Is it raining? Do you have to worry about your tan getting smidged? Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Wasn't a nice experience. Like, it's just not
Honestly,
easy.
I don't think I will ever get my tan done again by anyone else
But
at
mate,
a federation.
there you go. And
Like
it's cheaper. It's
it
cheaper as well. Cheaper.
Oh man, yeah. But it was just so easy, like you say. It was so convenient. I didn't have to leave the accommodation. Like I just went from the sofa to the kitchen, tan, back to the sofa. Jobs are
Yeah.
going. But it's also as well like the amount of compliments we got on my tan across all 3, 4 shows. It was
Mhm.
just like, why is this tan so good? How's this tan so good? Like, well, we did it ourselves. That's why.
Yeah. And for anyone thinking that must be hard, because I remember people talking about doing their own tan, and I thought, how do they do that? Trust me, it is so idiot proof. If I can do it on Jake, anyone can. It's the most idiot proof thing ever. You look at someone and you go, you probably need another top coat there, mate. And then, oh no, by the time it was your third show, mate, you basically were having
Yeah.
a base coat each and every single week with how the tan was going over to the next week. So it's like, we don't need that many top coats anymore. Boom.
Yeah. The
But
only thing that I would say is make sure you've got a good relationship with your coach slash whoever is telling you, because it's a little bit personal. Once you get past that, it's all
yeah,
good.
it is, mate.
It's
But
all
it makes a massive difference, like in my opinion, humongous difference. Like I'm tanning Toby this weekend for his first ever show, and he goes, "Oh mate, I feel so much better now. I haven't got to go to the and I'm there saying to him like, "I'd much rather tan you, mate, because then we can't get it wrong." And again, I brought a backstage pass so I can go backstage with him at WMBF, glaze him. I'm not having them glaze him because I saw Joey do it last year. They get you in a tent, let's just spray you. It's like, yep, go on out now. If there's 10 people and you're the last person or the first person to get glazed out of 10, 12 in a class, tell you what, the 12th person, the last person to get glazed, if they're in the same condition than you, they're going to look 2 times better than you because they're glazed properly. Your glaze is going to sunk in. Is it hot
Mhm.
backstage? Is it going to obviously sink into the skin quicker? These things make a massive difference. They do. So when it comes down to now, Jake obviously going through that experience, Jake can tell his clients when they compete, we've done this before. We can do this. I've been there, done that. So
Not a chance that I'm sending them to the PCA tanning for their
no,
shows in
mate,
September.
not PCA first timers. Where firstly, it's going to be super hot and sweaty. There's going to be about 300 athletes. It's going to be about 3 hours late. Have they taken their meals? It's going to be stressful because it's their first ever experience. Are they doing it right? Am I in the right place? Am I like? Is it supposed to feel like, mate? I'm telling you right now, it's little things that you don't think about at the time, but people stress about because it's their first ever time. Like, how many times do you think, oh, am I still tacky? No, I'm not. What if I sit down and it's going to smudge it? Like, just be in your own gaff, get your own Airbnb. It takes about half an hour to do your tan, and honestly,
Well, that's the thing that I was going to say. I noticed when we did it ourselves, obviously, when you go to like the federations, they use a spray gun to obviously spray you. And like what you said there about like, am I still tacky? It feels like it takes like half an hour to dry. Whereas like you do it in obviously your own like time and whatever. You use a little mitt, you just smudge it on, nice and simple, and like 5 minutes later you're dry.
yeah, but like
What I don't know what the gun is. Like it just seems to make you like wet for ages.
I think it's body heat as well, mate. Like think about it, it's like 20 people in the room standing there, especially at Birmingham first times as well, mate. It's up in the gym, right? It's in this little room. It looks like a murder case where it's like literally all the white things up as well. It's boiling hot there. You've got one or two fans, literally we're trying to dry about 10 people. Like I've been there, I've done it, mate. It's awful. Like it's not the actual. The people at the tanning are great. I'm just saying, if you told me get tanned by the federation or get tanned by myself, I want to do it myself. It's £27 for a tanning kit, £80 for tanning by PCA or anyone else.
And that's per show. Whereas that
Yeah,
tanning kit lasts 2-3 shows.
yeah. Like it's.
Mm.
I'm sorry, baby. It's the non-negotiable for me. To be fair, and I'd always get my athletes to do the tan themselves, and Charles does all of my female athletes tans. Like she's on it.
I do agree though. The backstage staff at PCA are great. Like
Mate, they're
I
wicked,
still
bro.
remember what's it like? There's one girl who does the tanning. I can't. I don't know what her name is. I feel really bad because like I've known her since my first season in 2023, and it's like she still remembers me. So it's like I was backstage this year, like just like shooting the shit with her because like we've seen each other that many times just
Is she the small
backstage.
one?
She's she's coloured quite short, like dark, like blackish
Yeah,
brown
I know.
hair.
Hmm.
She's the main one. She's there at every single show.
Yeah, I
I
know. You
don't know if it's Ryan's wife, the owner of PCA, but
mean.
like she's at every single show without fail, and she's so funny. Like she's just dead nice, dead chilled, like backstage just to talk to. And it's like she still remembers me now, which is great. But it's like, as you say, even then, she's still under a lot of pressure in a big rush to get everything done,
Mate,
no matter whether you.
everyone would be. Imagine doing like, yeah, you've got about 280 people to tan now. Yeah, over 3 p.m. to about 9 p.m. You are going to go over. That's why whenever they say, "Oh yeah, PCA," they always run over. Okay, bro, you do their job. You you make sure over 200 people's tans are perfect at every single show. Do that, right? Yeah, you have to give them a little bit of leeway. They're stressed. They're doing that all the time. It's just so. Again,
And then
I
they
just think
finish
of
at 9
tans.
p.m. and they're back up at 4 a.m. the next day to be in for tanning at like half
Yeah.
five.
So people sort of
They
slate
don't.
them all the time, mate, for these first timers shows. Okay, yeah, they don't oversell them. Yeah, they are obviously very, very busy, but just make sure that don't make, if you have a coach who knows the bodybuilding scene really, really well, they'll tell you book an earlier time because more than likely that's when people usually book like the half five time. You're not going to get time to about 7. Take a meal with you. Take your fluid. Take what you need because it's more than likely going to run over. Coaches
Mm.
complain when they haven't got their athletes to do something. Oh, my athletes, client's not taking a meal with him. You should have told him to take a meal or them to take a meal with you. Like that's a non-negotiable. Just take your meals with your tan with you, to go to your tan with. That's the problem with, or not the problem with doing it yourself. You're in the facility of your own home. You can have a fan next to you, so you're literally drying as the tan is getting applied to you. You're in the kitchen more than likely. You're making a meal while doing it. You sound 45 minutes done. So, yeah. And also, as well, if you're a junior, you haven't got to go to tan when it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. You can wake up a little bit later and then you can get tan done. So,
Yeah.
Definitely,
The earlier
definitely,
classes are not like get yourself here at 6. That's great.
yeah. But these little details make a massive difference, and in my opinion, they are like they can be like, for example, like pose and fitness, like these little details. They make a huge difference, and it is make or break in my opinion. If you're looking glazed compared to someone that isn't, and they're in similar condition to yourself, and it's like, you know what, their presentation is better in terms of how they look like on stage, it will make a difference. It will make a difference.
But I think it's like you said there about like, people complaining about the, details here that we're talking about. But it's just like every other part of bodybuilding. Like it's so simple, it's so easy to fix. It's just a case of doing it yourself and being prepared. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Just like, on a day-to-day basis, you have to, if you've got a job, you've got to organize yourself when you're going to train, when you're going to do your cardio, have your meal prepped. The same thing applies for show weekend. Have you got everything you need with you? Have you, got your meals to go to tan? Have you got the tan if you're doing it yourself? Do you know where you're going? Like at what times? Do you know what I mean? It's like the simple case of organization and just being prepared literally makes everything so much easier all year round.
mate, 100%. And I'm not saying that it's all on the coach's head to make sure they're organised, but when I saw Toby yesterday, I gave him a massive list of what he needed because it's his first ever show. I can't expect him to like. Imagine if I turn up there and he's got, oh, you got your Tupperware just to take some cream of rice with you just in case it runs over. Oh no, mate, you just told me to take it. Like, so I
Oh,
told him we'll
I
always
see.
take. So I said we'll take some backup food because more than likely, if you do have like an hour spare where it's running over, we've got some food with us. That's all good. Have you got little things like your headphones, your charger, if it does go over 2 hours over and you're chilling backstage, not in your own thoughts, little things like this, mate, which make a massive difference. Give him a massive list, and he's like, "Oh, mate, I appreciate it." But I'm thinking, yeah, that's a non-negotiable from a coach. But then again, an athlete should be getting that stuff ready anyway. But again, it's like both sides should be doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Then you've got no leg to stand on if you are complaining, if you're not doing those things. Whereas,
Mhm.
like, it's all well and good if you do all the right things and then it like doesn't go right or it runs over. Then cool, you can be like, oh, that could have been better from the federation. Just like you said there about like the athlete meeting being at 9:15, not on until 10:15. They could easily have split that as well. Do you know what I mean? It could be like, right, if you're later on in the day, if you're
Right.
not on till 6 p.m. at night, don't show up till 2 p.m.
Mate, I messaged UKFBA. I've got a tone figure athlete who is in section B after the first 10 classes. What time would you like her there? We'd still like her there at 9:15 for the athlete meeting, and they can go back to the Airbnb and they can go and chill elsewhere. Okay, brilliant. So I know that she can have her first meal at 8, athlete meeting at 9:15. We can then go. We'll have a look over before our first meal of carbohydrates in around sort of 11 o'clock. Fantastic. We get there. Fortunately, we get there early because obviously everyone came at 9:15. 170 people on their feet lining up with a queue out the door. Luckily, we got there half an hour early, so so she weren't on her feet for too long. But I'm looking at these classic bodybuilders, mate, who are in are on obviously earlier. I mean, they were queuing up for about 45 minutes. And some people were actually clever enough to say to their parents, "Can you queue while I put my feet up?" But for
Hmm.
the majority of people, you've got these people just waiting in the queue, and I'm thinking, legs are most likely going to be faded by standing up there for half. I know it's the little details to me anyway. But then Harley sat down, put her feet up, whatever. But I'm just thinking, if you are on later and you've got the bikini athletes, like you have some people there, mate, who are men's physique athletes getting there at 9:15, not on stage till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, what's the point? Like,
Like, I think you just be like, register a little bit later. The novice, the juniors, the teens, the classic guys, the bodybuilders come at 9 o'clock. Next thing you know, they're probably going to be finished at about 1. Okay, everyone come at 12. Boom, perfect. Obviously, if everything's run on time.
or what you could do is obviously if you know you're going to have a break in the schedule, you've got section A, section B. Why are they not telling section B people to turn up at the break? Do
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
So
Like,
it's there are
you're,
so many.
you're
Obviously,
paying
we're
staff
not.
to do
Yeah, it's very easy for us to say, "Oh, we can do this." Obviously, we've never prepared a show, but I understand why they would want everyone there early doors, so everyone's signed and they haven't got to go through that whole registration process. I understand that, but then again, you got to think from like an athlete perspective. If you're getting there at 9 o'clock and then not going on stage at 9:15, you got to think of all these different things that are going to go through what they're going through, the athlete experience. But it was a great show, nevertheless. Like the backstage experience was great. You could actually actively, there were screens everywhere, so you can see who was on, when to pump up. That helped an absolute treat when Harley was pumping up for myself. The people there were really, really good as well. Harley actually ended up going from trained figure to toned figure. That changed there. She said, "Oh yeah, don't worry. The last thing we want is people stressing. Tell them not to stress." Went to toned figure. Fantastic. So the people there were wicked, mate. And I understand it's just trying to caveat, trying to give them obviously time on stage, but then them obviously putting everyone else back. So
Right. We were going to talk about other people that we knew in that show as well, weren't we?
yeah,
So
Ash,
obviously I
start
wasn't
off.
there. Who else did you know that was?
All good?
Hello? No.
Can you hear me?
Having a bit
Let
of
me.
lag, but I think we're good. I think,
We're,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
all
we're
good.
good.
Sorry, people.
Having a bit of lag, but we're, yeah. So yeah, Ash was on junior bodybuilding and then classic physique juniors as well. Very, very good showing. It's a good job he did classic because I know he wasn't planning on doing. He thought he was better suited to junior bodybuilding initially, but then when he found out he could do both categories, multiple categories, he decided to follow his heart, as he said, and do the category where he actually, saw himself / wanted to be. Which turned out rather well because he did indeed win the classic physique junior category, and he also won the best poser award, didn't he?
He
For
did.
his routine as well, which was that was awarded separately, wasn't it? It wasn't awarded by the judges; it was awarded by the sponsors of the award, wasn't it?
Yeah, by Sammy. By the mate, I'm not going to butcher their posing thing, but the posing. Yeah, it's going to be called the posing.
Is it university or something? Posing
That's it.
University.
Yeah, the posing
Yeah, yeah.
university. John Lofthouse, Sammy. I think Sammy was there, and he chose the winner.
That's good. But to be fair, you sent me his routine as well, and like I got goosebumps on that routine. I was like, that's a really really good routine.
Mate, he was well. Honestly, mate, like for someone who, and I have to give him props, mate, for someone who prepped himself. I was looking at his updates from 7 days out, and I think he put an update on. I think it was like 5 days out or 4 days out, and he put like 3 different options that he could choose on what to do. And I was there like, I hope he chooses that option. And then the next day he went, I chose that option, and it paid off. And I was like, oh my, this guy's making like really good decisions, like objective decisions, like 3 days out, breaking things down methodically. And mate, he came out, I must say, he came out with his family and he was dry as a bone, vascular as anything. And I was like, mate, you look sick. Genuinely, like, you look wicked. Like, you don't need to do
Yeah.
anything. It's just little things like the
Well,
glaze.
yeah,
But
he sent me his pre-bed shots, didn't he? Because I forwarded them to you the night before. I was genuinely like, "Don't change anything." I literally all caps messaged him back, and I went, "Do not change a thing." Because obviously, as you say there, he was coaching himself into that show, making obviously the decisions, and like it was so impressive to see someone who's never competed before. I don't think he's had a coach before either. Like he genuinely just done everything himself, used all of the knowledge that he has, and put himself on stage looking like as good as he possibly could. He
mate,
was peeled, he was dry, like you say, full as a house, making the right decisions. And like when I saw that pre-bed thing, I was like, mate, your tan is perfect, the look is perfect. Whatever you're planning on doing tomorrow, do not change a single thing. And
he
it
was
worked.
wicked, mate. He was absolutely wicked, and definitely a standout in my opinion. There was like a group of 7 or 8 athletes who really stood out, and I would definitely put him into that category because he came in perfect. Like genuinely, you couldn't have placed him any better. And I made sure that when he was in the moment of obviously coming out, and you can just tell it's like he was all over the place in a good way. Like his family were there, he wanted to be present with all his family, and I was like, bro, just take a step back, just take a moment, be proud of yourself of what you've done. Because this day will pass right now, and you'll be in bed later on. And you'll be thinking, "Oh my god!" Just be present with what you've just done. You've just won the junior classic class, looking fantastic. Just and
And
it's like,
coaching yourself.
yeah, man. And I was like, you've done really well,
That's
mate. And it helps that he's an absolute legend as well. So,
because as well, I was like looking at the category as well. Obviously, when he came third at junior bodybuilding, the first category of the day, I was looking at the guys in it. The guy that won it has done 3 shows, won all 3. The guy that came second has done 3 shows this year, came second in both of them and won one. Do you know what I mean? So it's like junior bodybuilding, I think he just got out muscled, an age thing as well.
yeah.
Just they're a little bit older. They also competed before. They both got coaches. So again, fantastic result when you actually think about, where it was, who it was against, the situation. And then obviously classic physique, they rewarded the most classic guy, which is exactly what classic physique should
But
be.
I will say for UKDFBA, they are one federation which they're going to stick to the class criteria. If you're not
Mhm.
classic and you're in a classic class, they will not reward you just because you might have loads of muscle. If,
Yeah.
for example, the overall figure winner went into women's bodybuilding, didn't win. Next thing you know, comes out to
Hmm.
train figure, wins the class, wins the overall. They went, you're not bodybuilding, you're a figure athlete. So we reward you for the actual class you're suited to and the criteria. And with UKDFBA, make sure you follow the criteria because they're really diligent with it. You fit the criteria or you don't. And if you look fantastically and you don't fit the criteria, doesn't matter how good you look. If you're not in the criteria, they won't reward you. So,
But I think that's great, especially for a class like Classic Physique these days, where you can go to so many different federations and each one wants a little bit different. They reward slightly differently. So it's like, as I say, the guy that came second, Finley Thornton, coached
mhm,
by Finn Kelly again. Um, and again, like, he probably had a little bit more muscle. He obviously had a better glaze just because obviously Finn did it for him, but he wasn't as classic. He
mhm,
didn't have as good posing. It was like a clear night and day. Who's your classic bodybuilder? Who's just a very good bodybuilder with a lot of potential? Do you know
mhm.
what I mean? I'm not trying to take anything away from that Finley. He will be a fantastic bodybuilder considering he's also a junior. But again, I don't think he's as classic. So I think the right decision was definitely made.
But the standard of the junior and teens was absurd. Like, absurd. It's crazy how you go to the UK FBA shows now and everyone's like, I can't wait for the juniors and the teens to come on. Like, honestly, mate,
Yeah.
like, we had obviously Josh Campbell win the overall teen 2 years ago. You had Jacob
And
Tipper
then, yeah,
literally
yeah.
win it as a junior, right? So the past 2 out of the past 5 years, 2 out of the past 3 years have been junior or teen bodybuilders, like who win the overall.
They
It's
were they were
crazy.
both teens. They were
Or both
both
teams,
teens.
or both teams. Sorry, but like ridiculous, mate. Zach, the junior, bro, probably
Who's coached by Jacob
yeah.
Tipper.
Who's coached by Jacob? I've got to shout Jacob Tipper out. What a physique that dude has for a junior, mate. He looked like,
Mhm.
and as well, don't know what Jacob did. Tipper did for his peak. My man was on stage in the overall about 3 p.m. and he looked way tighter than what he did in the junior class. So it may have been like a water sodium thing where they probably kept feeding him, giving him more fluid and got tighter and tighter and tighter. But that's probably great feedback for the next show that he does. But mate, that dude was ridiculous. Like came third in the overall, third, fourth in the no, yeah. You had obviously the overall winner. You had a guy called Leon, I believe it is, Finn Kelly, and then you had obviously Zach in that sort of like top four. Mate,
Mhm.
mental, mental.
Have you seen his transformation as well?
Yeah,
That
mate.
Zach,
Uh huh.
his
Yeah.
transformation before we obviously started working with Jacob, like literally never bodybuilded, like phenomenal transformation.
So I would say you had Finn Kelly there as well, who I saw at the PCA Naturals 2, I believe it was, where again tan glaze was or tan was off, looked way better than the overall. Again, looked ridiculous, mate. You could tell who the winner was going to be in terms of the overall winner. I've never seen a natural. If he had like 3 kilos off his glutes and his hamstrings, mate, I think he could be like world champion status easily. It was ridiculous the amount of tissue that he had, but the fact that
I
Finn
think
could walk
he
away,
coaches himself as well, doesn't he?
mate, he was backstage. obviously the reason why he was got better, he got way better as he posed because he was warming up. Didn't pump up, right? Didn't pump up at all. No pump up. And then he came off and he was there like for the overall, and he was like, "Oh, is that me done now?" Like, mate, the most nicest dude ever. Came off, mate. His family were all there. There's about 20 of them, hyping him all up, mate. And he's there going like he's just the most chill dude ever. Didn't even. I was backstage, didn't even pump up, just standing there in the line. Comes out, and that's why he got better and better and better as he posed because he just didn't warm up, didn't pump up. So pretty ridiculous. But yeah, Finn K looked great.
I'm sure he coaches himself because I've seen him on Instagram. And I didn't put two and two together until like because he'd been posting these like reels of like updates, like 7 weeks out and like
Hmm.
stuff like this on Instagram. And every single update, he's wearing his tracky bottoms and he's just like in a pure gym somewhere, and it's like just the same standard, same format. Never seen his legs. And I was like, oh, like he's got a good physique, obviously, seeing him on Instagram, like didn't know where he was from, didn't realize he was from the UK. And then obviously UKDFBA posted their winners and like their overall with their taglines on Instagram. So, as you do, you click on the post, you're like, oh, who's this winner? He's obviously fantastic. Obviously, you sent me photos and said how phenomenal he was in person. I was like, that's the same guy. That's the same guy that I've been seeing for a few weeks. That's an absolute freak of nature. No wonder he's gone and won the overall.
Mate, it was ridiculous, mate. Like he looked like Sergio Oliveira, mate, senior, the
Elite.
dude, mate. Honestly, mate, ridiculous rig. But yeah, I think the fact that Finn Kelly can walk away from that show, like obviously not pushing him, but like people going like, you know what, like he's more conditioned than the first, but the overall winner, and he was holding his own really well. And you know what, mate, like that's probably a win in itself. To be fair,
I think that just comes down to genetics, isn't it? Like when you're on par with someone who's got genetics like that black dude did with the insertions, the bubble, like just the roundness of his tissue. Like I don't think you're just not competing against that. Even like Finn, he's obviously way more conditioned, like grainy, hard, tan glaze, everything perfect, but he just doesn't have that same level of like roundness and fullness that the overall winner does. But I don't think it's something you'll ever have without the
Adamola,
genetic. Yeah.
Adamola Labisi, mate,
Mm.
wow. All I'm going to say is wow. But yeah, if you want to find him on Instagram, it's.adamola. I'm sure if you type in it'll be there.
But
Um,
I think like you say there, like Finn can't be upset in the slightest because it's hard to beat genetics in bodybuilding when someone's that genetically gifted. Like there's not a lot you can do.
oh no, mate, and like I said, Finn looked wicked. And then that was bodybuilding, um, heavyweight bodybuilding. The middleweights, you had Leon, who ended up winning the class there against Morgan, Adam Powell's client, who again is an absolute freak. But Leon's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. That the medium and the heavyweight class was really good there, and I know Leon pushed Adamola for the overall, but again, it was just the size, mate. It was just so overwhelming for the other people on stage that mate, he hit his front relaxed. He put his arms all the way out to the side, create this massive distance, and he would just stand there like with his. I'm thinking like he takes up so much bandwidth. It's ridiculous. And yeah, man, posing was great. Obviously, I know a few posing coaches will probably say a few nitpicky bits, but for posing conditioning was fantastic. They posed them for round after round after round, and he's got better and better and better and better. And I would say that was probably one of the standout classes of the day, in my opinion. The way that Finn was getting the crowd up, he did play it really well, in my opinion. So Finn, hats off to yourself, mate, because people were there going like, "You've got this, Finn," and I'm there like, he's pumping up the crowd, revving the crowd up, and I was there like, you know what, this is fucking really cool. So yeah, it was a good atmosphere, especially for those classes for sure.
Oh, that's good. So overall, a very, very good show. A good standard. Just a
Unanimous.
few back
Just
end bits that could be potentially improved.
yeah, man. Just I know it's easy for us to say, "Oh, separate over 2 days," but again, we understand why it's over one day, but we just want it to run smoothly because as a coach, you want to bring the best athlete to stage to make their federation look the best, because you want to
Mhm.
make sure that the athletes that are competing are bringing their best physique. And if you're trying to scale out a time and you're looking, oh, it's 12 o'clock, it's been an hour since the show started. What class is on? Oh, still the first class. Oh, Harley's on the 18th class. Fantastic. Like, everyone's there, mate, saying, oh, they're not going to have the break, are they? Like, because they're running so far behind. And I went, yeah, they probably are, because the judges are needing a break more than likely. Had a half an hour break and it started at 5:15, and then section B started at 5:15. So, and there was 4 sections, just to let people know. So section 1 finished after 5 hours and 45 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
So just give people a perspective on that. And then Harley came on stage at 6 p.m. So yeah,
What time did the show actually finish?
I think it was about 9:30, 10.
Ooh,
I think it was more
that is
10.
not.
Tell a lie, Jack, Shots by Jack, put a photo up on his story at 10:30 when they're packing. Like, it was all done. So 10:30, around 10, 10:30.
And it started at 11.
Yeah, mate.
That is grim.
So, but yeah, man, it was a great show, great athletes. The standard was great. And if you are wanting to do a show, I'd highly recommend doing the UK FBA. The fact that you can do 2 as well is great, like 2 classes. Again,
Mhm.
wicked. So,
I'm a
great.
big fan of that. I'm a big fan of that because I think, especially for people new to bodybuilding, might not know where they want to be. Try multiple classes, do as much as you can, see where
Well,
the
mate,
judges reward you, and then that makes your decision for you.
well, look at Ash. Went into bodybuilding, came third, went junior classic, won. Now he knows what to do. Brilliant.
But as well, I don't think if he'd have just done junior bodybuilding, it would have been one of those where you go, "Oh, that's a disappointing result," because I think it was just a muscularity thing
Mm-hmm.
from an
Yeah.
age perspective. But I think those other 2 lads were just a couple of years older, doing it a bit longer. That's all it is. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely a positive to see him walk away with the win as well. But we have been discussing bodybuilding for 50 minutes there.
Wow.
So should we get to questions?
Yeah, man. We'll go Ash. The importance of salt and water management post show. So,
Very, very important. I think from a sodium standpoint, you want to just stay as consistent as you have been throughout prep. I don't think there needs to be much reason to change, the what you've been running there. But the big one that you tend to find is people will just forget to drink water. They just stop drinking water post show because obviously like on prep, especially in peak weeks, you might be loading water. You might get up to like sort of 8, 9, 10 liters even in some cases, and then if you all of a sudden 1 day, 2 day post show drop down to 3, 4 liters, it's like that's just asking for bad news.
mm-hmm. I think
It's not going to do you much benefit, is it?
not at all. But I think what a lot of people do is immediately post show, like Jake said there, make sure you hydrate. But what people do is they have their post show meal, they go out with their family, they wake up the next morning, they're 5, 6 pounds up, and they go, oh, okay, I'll just pull sodium for the day, and then I'll just expel the fluid, and then I'm like, no, because then you're obviously going to get the rebound effect, obviously, when you bring sodium back up. So what I would say here for yourself, mate, keep everything standardized. Even if you do gain X amount of pounds post show, if you've handled it well, it shouldn't be too much. But don't try and bring things down, taper things down to try and excrete fluid and try and get the body weight down. Just keep things
Mhm.
standard and it will go over a couple of days. So just don't try and bring too much stress on the body by, again, loading it up with loads of salt in your post-show meal. Next thing you know, bringing it back down again. Oh, it's all right now. It's gone after a couple of days. Okay, now I'm back up to 8, 10, 12 grams of sodium, whatever you're on. Brilliant. So it's just making like the pendulum swinging quite a lot. You want to try and keep the body quite mundane in the middle, right? It's going to have that shift post-show. You want to try and bring it back to baseline straight away, not come one way too far to the other.
I think the important thing as well, in terms of obviously, as you mentioned there, post show body weight gain, you might be 5, you might be 6 pounds up. At some point, you need to gain that weight anyway. So it's like there's no point if you have gained it a day or 2 post show, you're 5, 10 pounds up. There's no point pulling back down to baseline to try and get back to your stage weight because you need to put that weight on at some point anyway. So you might as well just let the body settle in, get into a groove, get biofeedback back as quick as you can. And that's not going to happen from the pendulum, like Tom says, of messing around too much. It's like just get back to baseline, because you should know where your baseline is in terms of fluid, because you've probably been running that for the entirety of prep until your peak week. So just get there as fast as you can, get that biofeedback in a good spot. And then that's when you're in a nice place to obviously push on and obviously either try and bring body weight up, push food up. But until you get to that spot, you're just going to be hindering yourself for a longer period of time than needed.
There you go. So, another question. Worst gym etiquette / gym ick?
Oh, this is going to make us sound a little bit judgy.
Gym
But
etiquette.
right, my biggest one, like I really don't care what people do in the gym, but like, do you know when someone just smells really bad, and it's like, if I can smell you from like the next machine along, like surely you can smell yourself and
Mate,
know that, like, get a shower, put some deodorant on.
that's a big. It sounds really bad, doesn't it? I was with Harley and Sid. Harley's asked the question. I'm guessing Harley and Sid have asked the question, but I was with Sid in the gym, and I was spraying myself and found a gym Wolverhampton literally yesterday. And she went, "What do you mean?" Like, she was like looking at me like weird, like I'm spraying myself, and I was like, "Nah, I can't be smelling in the gym." Like, just in case. And if I can smell someone, I've got a deviated septum. I can barely smell jack shit. If I can smell you, something's really bad. And I'm thinking, mate,
That yeah,
that must be pretty bad. So I'm thinking, I don't want to be smelling, mate. So I just spray myself and have a shower.
yeah. That's literally like the one that like comes straight to mind, is just like, if I can smell you like without being in your personal space, how can you not think, oh, I probably need to get a wash here, or like just get a bit of deodorant on, like,
Wash.
because that's just
Oh,
like,
go wash yourself.
see,
Top set. Go wash yourself.
but like, you're obviously like, you're probably going out like throughout the day. Do you know what I mean? You're probably not just going to the gym and coming home. So it's like, are you going out on a day-to-day basis and you just can't smell yourself, and that's just normal? So it becomes like the normal smell. So you think everything's fine. Like,
Mate,
just hygiene.
I
That
think,
is an
yeah,
ick.
that's definitely. I think that's like a universal one. I think with me being part of Intent, like looking after equipment, because I know that like how much goes into like looking after equipment, refurbishing it, like it costs a lot of money, a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And when people slam the weights, like it's not leaving weights on. Yeah, that's annoying. But then again, loads of people do that. I think it's just like I believe that's just who you are as a person. You either, like, for example, I go on Pure Gym every morning. I'm sweating like an absolute pig doing Stairmaster. I'm literally next to somebody sweating just as much as me. They go off straight away. I'm the person that wipes up the sweat afterwards. Like that. I think it's just
Mm-hmm.
who you are as a person. You put your weights back or you don't put your weights back. But people slamming bits of equipment, like it's just little things like that. And I'm thinking, man, like I see people like on a prime row, and they just like drop the prime, just drop it, and it goes, "Dum," and I'm thinking, mate, do you know how much that costs? It's like
Yeah.
£7,000 for that bit of kit, and you're just like just dropping it in the length and range where you've literally loaded it. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I mean, it definitely is the type of person. Do you know what I mean? Like, same type of person that goes around someone's house and like they'll eat their dinner and then like they'll just like leave this plate on the side.
it's just,
It's like the
I'm just,
same vibe.
I'm just like, oh god. But yeah, you know what, mate? I would put that up there. Like, I'm literally got sweat all over the cardio equipment. Granted, I'm not going to say don't sweat, but when you're literally looking at like drops of sweat going on to where it says matrix, and you can barely see the matrix sign anymore, right? I'm thinking the next person that's going to go on this is going to go, I'm not going on that, because the person's just like, so you get the spray, get the blue roll,
Yeah.
and then just wipe it. It takes 2 minutes, right? I did it for Shah this morning. I'm doing it anyway. But then the person next to me literally just walked off, and I'm thinking, what the like? I don't know, mate. It was just like, nah, don't rate it personally. And that's Pure Gym, where people don't even respect the place anyway. So
I'd say etiquette as well. One that like I've had a few times, and I actually feel awful because like, do you know like someone who may be like new to the gym, and you're in your set, you're on a machine, and then like they'll come ask you a question like whilst you're in the middle of your set, or like are you using this machine next to it, whatever it is, and like I know for a fact they're new to the gym, and I will just not answer them mid set. And I feel awful, like I feel like a knob whenever it's like happened in the past, because like I'm like, oh no, they're gonna think I'm an absolute prick here, because like I just won't answer them in like the middle of my set, and then they'll like stand there awkwardly because they've asked a question, and then it's like, I suppose that's like a etiquette thing, isn't it? It's like, don't speak to someone whilst they're midway through a set. But then I also understand that like 9 times out of 10, the person who's asking that question is probably someone who's really shy and really intimidated and new to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But that would definitely be an etiquette thing, is if you see someone like in the middle of a set, just give it a minute before you start talking to them.
Yeah, I would say that as well. Like, but then again, like you said, the fact that they can probably come over to you and they feel comfortable with coming up to you in the gym, but just be, is he doing a set? Is he getting ready for a set? No, that's probably the better time to go over.
That's what I mean. I feel awful because like I just won't answer them, and I feel like an absolute knob. But it is one of them where you just in the middle of the set, you just got to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
give them an answer afterwards when you caught your breath.
It's true.
But I suppose that's more of a gym etiquette for someone who is newer to the gym.
Right. So we have got how to structure a glute and hamstring day. Man, wow.
Who for? Is it a male client? Is it a female client?
No, mate. I'm guessing it's a female. SAB. Well, she's got a female. Female. What do you call it? Picture.
Profile picture. Because I
Sammy.
would say
Appreciate
it
the
would
question.
vary a lot for a male and a female client. Probably not going to be having a male client doing kickbacks. You're probably not going to have a male client doing B stance RDLs. So it definitely depends who we're looking at and who we're
Mm-hmm.
for. But I think the main things you are looking for in that session is a short and biased glute exercise, a lengthened bias glute exercise, a shortened range hamstring exercise, a lengthened range hamstring exercise, potentially some adductor, abductor, maybe some calves, depending on the person, and then you're pretty much ticking off all of the boxes there. Obviously, then if it becomes bodybuilding related, you can then focus it a little bit more on the class criteria. So like males generically probably have worse glutes than they do hamstrings, because a lot of like males don't like to do glute work because they think it's very feminine. So if you're then coaching someone who wants to be a bodybuilder on stage that has to then show off their glutes, you're not going to get their glutes peeled and striated if they have no glute tissue. So you're probably going to have to program them a little bit more, heavy duty glute work. Whereas then like a female bikini athlete, probably going to be a little bit more glute, but then you're going to be getting into like the nitpicky things of, is it upper glute? Is it,
Mate,
another
that's
week?
it. It's so nuanced, mate. Like when you look at bikini, they'll give you criteria of like more upper glute, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then so you're going to be biasing more of like the kickback variations. So therefore, you can be working through that range. It might be more like glute width. So you might be looking at obviously more abductor work, piriformis work. Then you got obviously glute drive work, and then you got obviously you're not going to be, for example, you're not going to be having a bikini athlete doing hip hinges every single session. It's not just RDLs. You don't want a bikini athlete to have massive erectors. So, okay, they might do one like hip hinge throughout the week in terms of being an RDL, but they're more than likely going to be doing more glute drive work, click back, abductor. There's actually different portions of the actual glute. What are you targeting? So, like Jake said there, it's much more nuanced when it comes down to the overall specificity of what area you're trying to target, especially when it comes to wellness, especially when it comes to bikini. But as a male, I would say just try and build good glutes, because then you can get them peeled. A massive mistake that I did in my first prep, didn't train glutes, got them a little bit like straight, but then I trained them in my next off season, came with peeled glutes. So yeah, it makes a difference. But how would I structure it? Like Jake said, make sure that you're hitting all contractile ranges over the course of the session. Make sure you're doing movements that are relative to, again, what you need, and you'll be absolutely sound.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would change would just be order, but then that again comes down to Are your hamstrings weaker? Are your glutes weaker? There's your answer. Glutes first if they're weaker, hamstrings first if they're weaker.
Yeah, like you might do, okay, glutes are weaker first. You might start with abductor to prime to get some blood flow into the glutes. Then you might do glute drive. Then you might do, I don't know, because it's me. Mate, I don't want to give away the secrets, but yeah, you might just do that. Yeah, and then if it's weak hamstrings, you might go shortened range bias first with a lying hamstring curl or standing leg curl. Then you might do seated hamstring curl. If you feel as though sometimes you might see someone do lying hamstring curl, seated hamstring curl, then an RDL, but by the time they get to the RDL, their hamstrings are too weak, so they might find that the glutes take over or the lower back takes over. Tom, I'm getting lower back pain on my RDL. Okay, let's just switch them around. Lying hamstring curl. Then next thing you know, as you know, mate, these are the little details that Jake knows. As a byproduct of doing a lying hamstring curl prior to an RDL, you're going to promote blood flow to the lower back, which is therefore going to get you a neurological benefit of heading into the RDL. What are we actively thinking about on a lying hamstring curl? We're thinking about driving ourselves forward. That's going to put you in a prime position to think about hip extension leading into a RDL. So you might do lying hamstring curl, RDL, seated hamstring curl. Mid to shortened range isolation, mid to lengthened range compound, mid to lengthened range isolation. Boom, contractile range is sorted. If it's in the off season, they might be able to do the RDL first. They might not want to do that first. For example, Dan Hall said to me, Tom, I prefer to do my compound work at the start of the session. So, start of the session, he does adductor, leg press, squat variation, then his compound, then his isolation work. That works for him. Brilliant. He's got great quads. That would not work for Jake. Jake would have to do his isolations first. So it all depends on who you're working with, what their strengths are, what they want to prioritize, blah, 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 blah.
I was just about to say I would be the complete opposite. I do all of my isolation work first and then all my compound work right at the end. Just because I find if I do my compound work at the end, one, I'm more likely to get injured. Two, it's an absolute ball ache to load that many plates and lift heavy. Like, yeah, it's great for Instagram. Looks great on Instagram when I'm putting 7 plates aside on the hack squat, but it doesn't look good for my knees. It
My
doesn't
knees,
look
bro.
good for yeah.
When I'm 50 years old and I'm in a wheelchair. Thank you.
It doesn't look good for my energy levels when I've got to load 14 plates on and then off the machine. Like, it's just so much like
It's what we said in the
to it
last
that
episode.
difference.
Yeah, it's what we said in the last episode when if it takes away from your latter, we have sometimes people, for example, you have your hip hinge at the end of your, or sort of middle to end of your session, but if you had it at the start, it would
Yeah.
take away from your what you're doing afterwards. So to get the most out of everything, isolation work first, then compound work. But again, it's all person dependent, and this is why I will always ask people, how was the flow of your session? Did you feel like you got enough out of everything? And that's why I take pride, and Jake takes pride of your training. It's super important. Like, you look at a physique and go, what is the actual needs of this physique? And that's why when it comes down to exercise selection, massive. Exercise order, even more imperative. Like, I ask people, when does their performance drop off in the session? Oh yeah, I felt the RDL was down. Okay, let's place that forward. The next thing you know, seated hamstring curl provides more stability, so it's more than likely not going to drop off. The only reason why it is because it's going to be more fatigued heading into after the RDL. Next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. The flow of the session is better. They feel like they can get more out of the RDL and the hamstring isolation as well. These different things make a massive difference.
I also really like it from an intra workout standpoint because by having my compounds at the end, I can then actually drink my intra workout at the midpoint of my workout after I've finished my isolations or just as I'm on to my last isolation before my compound. And then I go into my compounds having just had my intra workout and I actually feel like it's then being utilized rather than like if I did all my compounds at the start, I'd be like, well, why am I having an intra workout now just to go and do a seated hamstring curl and a quad
Probably because you're
extension?
absolutely trashed, but you're like, oh, that's why it's like I'm not actually using it for the fuel. I'm actually using it to recover because I'm trashed. Brilliant.
Starting, starting that recovery process. But that's like when you took my when I first started with you and you took my Smith machine glute bridge off me because I had that second. I think I went in, I did calves, did some abductor to warm up, and then I was into a Smith machine glute drive and I had 7 plates aside on there. And I was like, then smoked for the rest of the session. And you were like, yeah, we're getting rid of that.
Mate, it was. I was looking at your physique and I was thinking, the glutes are overpowering the hamstrings. why are we having a 7-plate glute drive at the start of the session? And I remember you posting it on your story all the time, and I was thinking, and I remember the pendulum into the hack squat, and I was there like, Jake trains like a maniac. Why are we having a 7-plate pendulum into a 6-plate hack squat? It makes no sense, right? Then,
Hmm.
then with the glute bridge at the start of the session, and I was thinking, mate, how are you feeling after these sessions, mate? And it's not even based off what you need. It's like, okay, glutes, out
Awful.
of your overall lower, your glutes are probably the best out of your overall, like glutes, hamstrings, and quads. Okay, let's just put his best and strongest part at the start of the session, which is going to trash him for the rest of the session when that's where he actually probably needs to put more priority towards.
And then two squat variations, two squat compounds. That's
I
fantastic.
remember, mate,
That was
I remember the pendulum into the hack squat, mate, and I was thinking, I'm getting tired even watching these stories right now. Like I was there, like even I'm systemically smashed.
But then I say it looks great on Instagram, not great in real life.
hmm And then next thing you know, we did it same with Dalton. Great quads posteriorly. He has like 4 sets of quads a week, mate. Quads are still progressing at a great rate. What people don't realize is that people's or different musculature responds to different amounts of volume landmarks. It's a coach's job to find out what responds to more and what responds to less. So when it's really important to understand, okay, how is the actual physique looking after a 6, 7, 8 week stint? This area is blown up off 8 amount of sets. Okay, that's a good body part now. What would we need to work on? Arms. We'll take 2 sets away from the body part that's responding really well. See if it continues to respond off 6. Where are these two other body parts going to go to? Okay, we might place lats for Jake. Okay, bro, we're going to place 2 lats, 2 sets of lats over the course of the week. One on your posterior day, one on your back day. Tell me how it goes. Yeah, mate, I'm still recovering. I'm still progressing. Oh, guess what? There's lats are getting better. So it's not just here's a plan, go for it. It's the amount of detail that you go into and understanding that some body parts are going to respond differently to others.
I think as well, like people don't realize, like I said it before, but like it is an absolute ball ache when you're strong to actually spend half your session loading and unloading plates.
Mate,
Do you know what I mean? Like I
it's
get
the worst. The
But
worst.
like I get sessions now so much more efficiently, having changed the order to have all my like compounds at the end. I actually get through a session in like an hour and a half, max 2 hours on maybe a leg day, rather than like minimum 2 hours, potentially 2.5 to 3 hours, because I'm like loading up all these plates and then taking them all off and then putting it like you on something else.
Yeah, mate, that's exactly
Do,
what I
do you know what I mean?
do.
Like, not needed.
It makes sense. Like, and also as well, like that's on my posterior day. I have seated hamstring curl, lat pull down, chest supported row. I have abductor, seated hamstring curl, lat pull down, T-bar row, Smith machine glute drive, Smith machine RDL. So at the end, my Smith machine glute drive is like 3.5 plates. I can literally go straight into my RDL afterwards on the same Smith machine and I haven't got to worry about it. If I do the glute drive at the start, I've got to take them all off, go back to the Smith machine later on, then put 3.5 plates on. It's just long, mate. But that's why I have the glute drive at the start of my other leg session and I have it at the end of one session, just so I can do that. But again, these things do matter. It does matter. And people say, oh, it won't matter. Trust me, it does. It does.
It does indeed. Do we have any more questions?
1 second. 1 second.
The people are in for an absolute treat here. We're already at an hour 15.
Oh, mate. Okay, last question, mate. Absolute banger. Favorite pastry? I can't lie, mate. What you sent me today was diabolical in terms of how good it was. Like,
It was good.
incredible.
It was good. But obviously, we can't tell people that I just eat croissants all the time, can we? Like, I actually stick to my diet plan, I promise. So this morning, pre-legs, I had like, probably wasn't even half, but it was a almond cookie Nutella croissant.
Mate,
It was a banger.
can't lie,
So
boys and girls.
It's like Nutella filled, and then obviously in the croissant, and then like cookie over the top with then Nutella drizzled and almond, like whatever they put on an almond croissant as well.
Mate, Jake
It
sent it
was
to me and I was there like, is that a cookie-filled almond croissant with this on it? He's like, that's basically bang on. It looked
you, li-
incredible.
You got it just from a photo. You absolutely nailed exactly what it was.
So
We were on a wavelength. But just so the people know, on a leg day, I get 500 calories free, calories extra. So I'm not just being a fat bastard all the time.
no, not
It
at all.
is scheduled.
But I think if I was to have
It's,
anything, mate, mate, I'm an absolute slut for like a millionaire shortbread. But that's not really a pastry, but that's what I would go for usually. But I think for a pastry, a day I had from Starbucks the other week. Sorry, tell a lie. Before legs the other day, don't know why I said the other week. Danish cinnamon apple swirl, bro.
yeah.
Mate, it had like icing on. It had like a little ball of like apple in the middle. Oh, mate, it was just incredible.
I had while I was in the Lake District, I had a really good pistachio croissant. I had a really good pistachio croissant. That was good. I'd say the one that I had this morning, it was a banger, but like I wouldn't have been able to eat a full one.
Yeah,
Like obviously,
I said to you, I wouldn't be able to
yeah,
eat that.
yeah. I had half of my dad, and I don't even think I ate my half. I think he had the other bit of mine. But the one that lives rent free in my head that I had from the same place that I went to this morning, Kookaburra Bakehouse in Chester. If you're ever in Chester, Kookaburra Bakehouse is phenomenal. Was a maple bacon swirl.
Oh,
So it was like streaky bacon, maple syrup in like a croissant-y swirl pastry.
mate,
And like I had that after my 2023 prep, so 3 years ago, and I still think about it to this day. That was probably
that's
the best pastry I've ever
that
had.
right there is the name of the episode, mate. Do you know the meme of like bacon is good for me? That,
No, I've never seen that.
oh, mate, you've not seen the meme. It's this fat little kid who's there. He has this like it's like do you know when people go into the house and like get rid of all the this fat family? I'm sorry to say it, like this calorie dense family, and this lady comes in, this health lady comes in, gets rid of the bacon, and this kid goes, "Bacon is good for me," and he goes into like this massive hissy fit because this lady just shucks away all the streaky bacon. So that's the name of the episode. Bacon is good for me. That's funny, man. That's an old meme. It's just, like, honestly, watch it after this. Bacon is good for me.
I'm gonna have to go find that in a minute. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a little meme for you. This health lady comes in and goes, "We're going to get rid of the bacon," and he goes into a massive mart. And wait, I've got to get
Oh,
it up for the people, man. I've got to get it up for the people because I just seem like,
we,
what is he actually watching? Bacon is good for me, mate. There we go.
we're gonna
Straight away, I put bacon in, and it's right at the top. Here we go.
need to
1 minute, 1 minute 21.
I need you guys to help me in the kitchen to fill these.
Wait,
Can I gotta tell you something? Leave no cheese in the can. Very happy to be throwing this away. Bacon. No, I want my bacon. I gotta tell you something. Bacon is good for me. This is very big. You go into the grocery store. She thinks, out of the blue, she's a smart little girl that she can do whatever she wants.
my God.
That's not how she can do it in our family. She's act like she's the queen and we're the sorry people.
sorry, bro. Oh my god, that is the best meme ever. Bacon is good.
There we
She thinks she can come into my house and make. Oh, just because of
Do we have
bacon.
an update on the calorie dense child these many years later? Has he actually lost any weight?
I don't know, mate, but like, you gotta get rid of this cheese and bacon.
Joy, junk, is that a deal? No, I keep losing at deals, and I don't want to make a deal.
I don't want to make no deals anymore. Yeah, there you go, mate. Making deals with a
There we
calorie dense family. Wow, that's cracked me up. But yeah,
There we go. So that is one way to round up our episode this evening.
oh
I
goodness
say
me.
this evening, it's still the afternoon just about.
Hmm.
But we will wrap it up there after that lovely question about our favourite pastries of all time. But obviously, over here, we're great bodybuilders, so we don't actually eat pastries on
No,
a
not
week to
allowed
week
to.
basis.
Not allowed to.
No, no, no.
Pastry. What's pastry?
No. After I've just said I had a pastry pre leg day this week, and then you said I had a pastry pre leg day last week.
But
There's the secrets that people want to know. That's how we off season and rebound around here.
mhm.
But As always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the many, many questions as well. We do appreciate it. As always, any likes, any comments, any shares on the old Instagram story are always appreciated. And we will catch you again next week for another episode.
Hasta luego.
Peace.
Peace.